Hey everybody, HomeSliceHenry here, and in today's video, I'm taking you to the Master League Premier Cup, where a trainer is breaking out a crazy spicy Pokemon to try and fight back against this wave of powerful steel types like Metagross and Magnezone. These battles were submitted to the channel by a member of the community, Blazingly Blaze, so many thanks for the battle submission. Now this trainer is running level 50 Torterra. Torterra obviously got access to Mud Slap. At level 50, it only gets to about 3,300 combat power, so it's a way lower combat power than basically anything else in the format. But Blaze was able to climb almost to legend rank with this team. So without further ado, let's hop into the matches, and game number 1, we're off to a pretty decent start, leading Torterra into Metagross. Even though Torterra is hitting for super effective damage and Metagross is hitting for resisted, Metagross is still putting up a pretty solid fight. Again, I can't state enough how absolutely broken Metagross is. Frenzy Plant is gonna land, and unfortunately Metagross hangs on 1 HP to make a second Meteor Mash, and Torterra is forced to burn both shields. Torterra exits with a ton of energy, out comes Florges, and the good news is this backline is going to be an absolute wall for Florges. In comes Goldengo save switch, opponent's gonna bring in their final Pokemon, it's a Magnezone. Magnezone up 2 shields can normally win just about any game, but if there's a Torterra, Magnezone is not gonna be able to do anything. Magnezone farms up a ton of energy, and Goldengo, with no shields left to hide behind, is going to be hit with the Wild Charge. These Astonishes are adding up. Goldengo is going to get to a second Shadow Ball. Shadow Ball forces the shield, and back in comes Torterra. The Mud Slap does go through. Mirror Shot's going to be doing basically nothing. Oh, they're on Flash Cannon! The Flash Cannon surprise, picking up the knockout onto Torterra, and now Shadow Magnezone is revealed as the closer. Shadow Magnezone just needs to overfarm, and that's exactly what it does. Getting a small energy head start, going for the Mirror Shot, and Undercharge to give Magnezone a little bit of extra energy exiting this matchup, because now Moonblast will not take the knockout, and the Wild Charge is locked and loaded. So very nice energy management endgame. Wild Charge takes the knockout, and that's a good game. Hopping into the next match, leading Torterra into Florges. A lot more neutral of a lead. I assume Florges is typically able to emerge victorious just because Florges is an incredibly cracked Pokemon with chilling water. No, they actually go for the Moonblast. That does quite a lot of damage. Out comes Goldengo. Opponent is going to bank a bunch of energy, and out comes a Shadow Magnezone. Shadow Magnezone threatening big damage with a Shadow Wild Charge. The shield goes up, and getting that shield call right is so important for Goldengo. Suddenly, these Astonishes are doing massive damage. Opponent shields, and they're going to regret that, as they only had enough for a Mirror Shot. They try and get to the Wild Charge. Another Shadow Ball is reached, and now they lose shield advantage and switch advantage. So things are looking pretty dire. In comes their own Goldengo. They are going to get a pretty big farm down, but now Goldengo is going to be aligned onto Torterra. Torterra will throw the Frenzy Plant right before Shadow Ball is available for the opponent. Frenzy Plant does get the shield. There's the switch into the Florges. Florges is barely able to outpace, but at this point, Shadow Magnezone with a shield will be able to clean up this game very comfortably. In comes Magnezone. Magnezone is going to have to take quite a few chilling waters, but as long as Magnezone can just farm up to the Mirror Shot, then it's going to be perfectly okay. Magnezone is able to outpace. This is only -1. It will be enough to... Oh no, it's not enough to take the knockout. The Florges hangs on 1 HP, and suddenly the Magnezone is lower than it would like to be, but luckily it will not matter. Low, but not low enough for the opponent to get the farm down. Wild Charge takes the knockout, and that's a good game. Hopping into the next match, leading Torterra into Metagross. The Metagross lead returns once again. We saw in that previous game that Metagross actually does put up quite a fight here. Metagross farms up to 10 Shadow Claws of energy, and Torterra will go on the defensive as it puts up the shield. Torterra, Frenzy Plant, is going to be not taking a knockout here, but it will get the opponent pretty low. Frenzy Plant is going to land, and I love that adjustment. Going for the Goldengo, getting that snipe down, that's really, really well played. As the first time, staying in and having to give up both shields didn't really work out particularly well, so I like the play to snipe it down quite a bit better. Rhyperior gives back the shield advantage just to get a full farm down, and now in comes Torterra. Torterra knows Rhyperior is going to get to 2 moves, so it's going to have to shield at least one of them, so the final shield does come out. Frenzy Plant from the Torterra does get shielded by the Rhyperior, and things could get very, very tricky. Can Torterra hang on? Rhyperior is going to do quite a lot of damage. Surf does not take the knockout, but Rhyperior is at the back-to-back, and this is bad news for the Magnezone. You have to hope the opponent blind switches, and they do blind switch. Oh, the win con has been found. They blind switch Magnezone into Magnezone. Had they stayed on the field, they would have automatically won. Opponent goes for the Mirror Shot, and now it's going to be a game of Mirror Shot baits until Wild Charge will be able to take a knockout. Mirror Shot is going to land. Opponent, do they end up firing off the Wild Charge here, trying for the knockout? They go for the Wild Charge. Wild Charge does not knock out the Shadow Magnezone. Hangs on with very low HP. Wild Charge takes the knockout, and the Wild Charge BM into Rhyperior. This is why looking at the typing of what your opponent brings in is so important. Had they stayed on the field, Rhyperior would have been devastating, but they insta-switched into the Magnezone without checking the top right corner, and that cost them dearly. A familiar lead in the next match, Torterra into Florges. Ideally, you would love to see a safe switch out of this matchup at some point, and Torterra is going to immediately no-shield. There is the Chilling Water and the safe switch. The banking of the Frenzy Plant, resetting that attack drop is quite nice, and now Goldengo will immediately be attack dropped by another Chilling Water. Out comes Magnezone. Looks like opponents really like sending Magnezone into the Goldengo. Goldengo has Focus Blast. Are they going to respect it? They do respect the Focus Blast, and now they get to farm up massive energy. Do they consider potentially going for a Mirror Shot and a farm down? No, instead they're just going to take the knockout. But now, oh my goodness, these Mud Slaps are devastating. They're only going to get to 1 charge attack, so they will go for the Mirror Shot, and Torterra exits pretty healthy and with so much energy. Oh, that's a beautiful peekaboo play from the opponent, bringing in the Florges and quickly switching into Metagross to get the catch. But now it's time for Shadow Magnezone to take over this endgame. Shadow Magnezone farming up very close to the back-to-back Wild Charges. The opponent will always Meteor Mash bait, but for Magnezone, it will always be worth a shield. And now Magnezone is at the back-to-back Wild Charges, which means this is just game over for the opponent. There's just not a way out. Back in comes the Florges. Magnezone again just going to be full sending the Wild Charge. Opponent realizes there is no path forward, and they will just not use the shield and take the loss. 4-0 in the set, looking for the 5-0, and this is not a matchup I ever expected to see in the Master Premier Cup. Torterra against Pangoro. Looks like a shiny Pangoro as well. What a flex. Torterra, immediate no shield, calling the Night Slash bait, but the boost from Pangoro, and that's going to be massively complicating things, as unfortunately now the opponent is highly incentivized to protect the Pangoro, and Pangoro is pretty rough for this backline. Torterra, no shields, cannot make the Frenzy Plant, and now this is where things are going to get tricky. Out comes Magnezone. Magnezone does not want to deal with the boosted Pangoro, but this is the only source of fast move pressure. Magnezone's going to have to go down 2 shields if it wants to basically do anything in this game, so it will do just that. Unfortunately lost over half of its health bar, but has a ton of energy. Out comes Florges. Florges immediately met with the back-to-back Mirror Shots. Mirror Shot is going to connect, and now here is the Wild Charge. Wild Charge would love to take the knockout onto the Florges. Wild Charge, opponent puts up the shield. In comes Goldengo. In the back is King Gambit, and this is going to be a race. Goldengo needs the Focus Blast, but King Gambit will outpace. King Gambit will do big damage with Foul Play. Foul Play is going to land, and King Gambit is going to get 1-hit KO'd by double super effective Focus Blast. Back in comes the Florges. Florges will be able to get some good farm, and that is very bad news, as Magnezone needs to be able to make it to a charge attack, and it's just not getting there. I think this game would have been fine, but unfortunately, the boosted Pangoro, the first Night Slash boosting, proved to be a little bit too much for this team to handle. Oh, the dream lead in the next match, Torterra into Magnezone. Opponent safe switches into Goodra. Now, Goodra is not really going to have any coverage for Torterra, as the worst thing they can throw is a neutral Aqua Tail. So, Torterra more than happy to take a little bit of damage, and now out comes Goldengo. Goodra's energy is not going to go very far here, so this is a prime opportunity for the Gholdengo. Gholdengo will get to absorb Aqua Tail after Aqua Tail and look to exit this matchup with a decent amount of energy. Gholdengo farms up. There's going to be the switch into the Magnezone. Magnezone is never going to be shielding here, considering they know they have a Torterra in their future. Shadow Ball lands. That is devastating damage. Unfortunately, Gholdengo mid-Astonish, unable to make the catch, and Wild Charge will take the knockout. One Mud Slap from Torterra will easily knock out the low health Magnezone. Will the opponent bring back in their Goodra? They're thinking about it. They will bring back in the Goodra. Goodra going to make the Aqua Tail. It looks like that may have been a charge attack priority tie. Aqua Tail is going to land. It was a charge attack priority tie. And here is the Stone Edge. Stone Edge lands. That's not enough to take the knockout. In the back is going to be Florges. And this game looks like it should be a win. Florges going to have to commit the shield just for Magnezone to hit the field. Magnezone's going to get debuffed. It's at an energy disadvantage, but being up a shield should put Magnezone right where it wants to be. Magnezone, immediate mirror shot, just trying to get some damage onto the Florges. Florges puts up the shield, but now this potentially sets up Magnezone to land a Wild Charge. Wild Charge, even though it is only neutral, will hit for more damage. Magnezone just going to look to overfarm actually. Now going to be at -3. Unfortunately, now a Wild Charge will not be enough to take the knockout. So Magnezone is instead going to go for the Mirror Shot. Mirror Shot is going to land. That's not going to do much. There's the switch into Torterra. And oh my goodness, Florges, all the farm it could ever want. Florges building up to the back-to-back Chilling Waters. Chilling Water is going to connect. In comes Magnezone. Opponent tries for the catch onto Goodra. And unfortunately, not getting that catch is going to seal their fate. As it shields down, Magnezone taking the knockout onto the Florges to secure the win. Honestly, the opponent made that closer than I expected in the endgame. Florges is an absolute menace. Torterra into Dragonite, an absolutely awful lead. In comes Gholdengo. Gholdengo going to be met with a Kingambit on the safe switch. Gholdengo farming up to the Focus Blast, going for the bait, assuming the opponent does have to respect it, and they do. So the bait ends up being a pretty wise decision. Gholdengo is at a massive pacing disadvantage as Kingambit is very fast to its charge attacks. Gholdengo just going to settle for a Shadow Ball. Opponent will know this is not enough for a Focus Blast, so they can let that through. But for Gholdengo, this is just an opportunity to try and get some damage on the Kingambit to make life easier for Torterra. Foul Play will take the knockout. In comes Torterra. Mud Slap goes through as the opponent will look to get some damage. They're going to go for the Foul Play. Torterra going to try for the farm down, but Kingambit is able to hang on and make one final charge attack. It is going to be another Foul Play. There's the switch in a Magnezone. Opponent able to save it on very low HP and send in Gholdengo. Farming up to the back-to-back Wild Charges. And honestly, the opponent, it's going to be a tough call. Do they decide to call it? It looks like that's actually a charge attack priority tie. Going for the Mirror Shot. Does the opponent call it? They do call it, and that is very unfortunate. Now Magnezone will probably have to look to try and farm down. It's just going to be a Power Gem from the Gholdengo. There's the switch into Torterra, and back in comes the Dragonite. With the desync and switch timers, it's not by much, but some very high-octane gameplay. Dragonite is going to get the full farm down. Magnezone has energy, but will not be winning that charge attack priority tie. That's going to force Magnezone to burn the shield. Dragonite knows it can even go for the Thunder Punch. That's how low the Magnezone is. Wild Charge is going to land. Unfortunately, that is back-to-back charge attacks loaded on the Dragonite, and that's going to be game over, as there is the superpower, and Magnezone will not be surviving. We move to the next match. Torterra into Magnezone. Oh, what a lead. Opponent, they're staying in for a little bit. They save switch into Mamoswine, but it's a Mud Slap Mamoswine. The fact that they stayed in, they're now down energy, and even though Mud Slap would be an absolute nightmare for this backline to deal with, unfortunately the way that they've played it, they've really put themselves in a very difficult spot. Mamoswine is on Icicle Spear, and it's able to get to those Icicle Spears pretty quickly. Frenzy Plant is going to force the final shield, and out comes Gholdengo. Gholdengo does have fast move pressure. Oh, the Mamoswine is able to save itself. The switch back into the Magnezone, but the opponent looks like they did lose charge attack priority. Shadow Ball, devastating damage, and that's a really nice trade for Gholdengo. Gholdengo no shields, opponent locked in a Mirror Shot. They were unable to change that decision. The Mirror Shot did get the debuff, and in the back is going to be Gyarados. Gyarados not going to like what it sees when Magnezone hits the field. There's the switch. In comes Magnezone. Magnezone now going to be met that with the Aqua Tail. The shield does come up. Oh, it's actually a crunch from the opponent, and Mamoswine gets Volt Switch down. That's so embarrassing for the Mamoswine, and the opponent will resign the match. We move to the next game, leading Torterra into Florges. In this matchup, we've now seen it play out a few times. Torterra likes to bank the energy and then send in Goldengo to try and get an energy head start. A bit of an unusual moveset from the opponent as they are on Trailblaze. They bank so much energy. Oh my goodness, out comes Snorlax. Come on, Goldengo. Goldengo going for the Focus Blast. It connects, and that is devastating damage onto the Snorlax. Unfortunately, the Astonishes are not doing much. Goldengo has to decide, are they running the nuke move? Goldengo shields, and unfortunately, it's just going to be a body slam from the Snorlax. Double resisted Shadow Ball is not going to do much, but it will be enough to take the knockout, and winning switch advantage is this entire game as the opponent has a Magnezone in the back. They know there's a Torterra. They cannot shield unless they have Flash Cannon, but they actually do shield. In comes the Florges, swiftly answered with the Magnezone, and it's just all going wrong for the opponent. They threw the Trailblaze as well, so at the very least, this Chilling Water is going to be boosted. So they go for, oh no, they're not. A rare non-legacy Florges. They're on Trailblaze and Moonblast. I think Chilling Water is definitely just better. The opponent will get to bring back in the Magnezone, but what's a Magnezone going to do against a Torterra? The answer is nothing. They know it, they're gonna no shield, and that's a good game. All in all, these were some extremely fun battles, so many thanks to Blaze for sending them in. Blaze mentioned that he was able to climb into, I believe, the 2980s or the 2990s with this team, which I honestly think says more about Blaze the Battler than Torterra. Torterra, it is a really cool anti-meta Pokemon, but the limitations from its stats are definitely evident. Only getting up to about 3,300 combat power means that even when it is hitting for super effective, as long as it's something like a Metagross and not the Magnezone where it's going to be triple resisted, then the Metagross actually has an ability to fight back. When it landed the Frenzy Plant and tried to farm down, the Metagross was actually able to make a second Meteor Mash. But with very careful gameplay and recognizing the fact that people would realize just how strong of a lead Magnezone is, because if you consider what's good between Florges, Gyarados, and Metagross, the thing that has play into all three that isn't named Kingambit is Magnezone. So a really nice anti-meta read, kind of trying to target down the anti-meta Magnezone, and hey, it paid off. This is not a team that I'd recommend others try, just because, man, Torterra, if it had like 400 more combat power and more stats, I would definitely believe in it a lot more, but at only 3,300 combat power, it's definitely more of a fringe pick for the Master Premier Cup, but it's really nice to see a talented trainer be able to use a fringe Pokemon like Torterra in the Master Premier Cup and still have devastating success. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoy watching content like this, please do consider leaving a like on the video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't. And a special thank you as always to our channel members here on YouTube. The support guys provide is genuinely so appreciated. So thank you guys so very much. And until next time, I've been HomeSliceHenry.